Right, good. It's recording this time. So this is from a website and it's called History Collection. And the article is called 12 Real Werewolf Cases Throughout History. So I tried reading it a minute ago. One or two of the words I did struggle with, so I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about that. They're not words I'm familiar with. But I'll do my best. Werewolves are present in legends around the world. They were men with the ability or compulsion to turn into wolves, either through being bitten by a werewolf or through a satanic pact. The term werewolf comes from the Old English werewolf, a compound noun of wer, which is wer, which means man, and wolf, which is spelt wulf, obviously in Old English. But the other term, lycanthrope, is much older. Lycanthropy, from the ancient Greek, lykos, wolf, and therapos, man, means man, is a reference to King Lycon, the earliest recorded Western werewolf, who, according to Ovid's writing, 8 AD, was transformed into a wolf by Zeus after the monarch failed to recognise and worship him. Werewolves have obvious symbolic overtones. Man and the wolf have long been enemies, and culture has typically seen the two as opposites, essentially the good and rational man and the inherently evil and irrational wolf. To call someone a wolf is rarely a compliment, except warriors. Or warriors accepted, it says, sorry. In Anglo-Saxon law, outlaws were known as wolfhod, which means wolf head, a reference to an earlier custom of tying a wolf's head around anyone whose life was forfeited. Beyond the allegory, however, history also furnishes us with supposedly genuine tales of werewolves, who were discovered, tried, and usually executed. Read on for 12 bone-chilling instances of real werewolves. Okay, so if I butcher any of these names, I'm sorry in advance. The Gondolian werewolves. The Gondolian werewolves were a family who, in the late 16th century, were accused and executed for being werewolves. In 1598, a young girl and her brother were attacked by a wolf, Benost Biddle, I think that says, aged about 15. He climbed a tree to pluck some fruit, and whilst aloft saw a wolf dart from some bushes and seize his sister. Leaping down to protect her, Benost drew his knife. The wolf rushed at him and drove the knife into his neck with a savage blow of the paw. Unfortunately, a crowd had heard the commotion and chased the wolf away. Why was that? I don't know why that's unfortunate. Oh no, sorry. Fortunately, a crowd had heard the commotion and chased the wolf away. I misread it, sorry. The girl died at the scene, and Benost was taken back to his father's cabin, where he died of his injuries. A few days later, before he died... What? He died a few days later, right, okay. Before he died, Benost claimed that the wolf that attacked him had hands like a man, covered with hair. The wolf had been maimed by the crowd, and so suspicion fell upon one Peronet Gondolian, who exhibited a wound precisely in precisely the same place as the wolf had been injured. Unfortunately for her, one of the crowd that injured the wolf was none other than Henry Boget, a notoriously merciless witch hunter. That guy's name is Henry, and then his last name is spelled Boguet. Boget, I think, but maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Boget arranged a mob and executed Peronet shortly afterwards, however, as he later revealed in his Discours, I don't know how you say that, Discours, Des, and then Sorciers. It's a book about witchcraft, obviously, but whatever. In 1602, there were rumours that the whole family practised black magic, and so Boget had them all arrested. Peronet's daughter, Eonette, swiftly confessed to witchcraft, but her brother Pierre and his son George and his friend, were not so forthcoming. Placed under observation, Boggett recounts how he saw them walk around on all fours, barking and howling and covered in mysterious scratches. Boggett questioned them whilst they were behaving like this, and they confessed to witchcraft. The Perronet family were burned at the stake. Boggett boasted of having tried and executed 600 werewolves in his career, according to Voltaire, and his writings are full of lycanthropic examples. Another notable case was that of Claudia Gillard, later dubbed the Werewolf of Burgundy. Claudia was walking through the woods with Jenna Perrin, grumbling about receiving so few alms when she darted into the bushes and a wolf emerged. Janine dropped her arms, crossed herself and fled the scene, later revealing that the wolf had toes like a human. When Claudia advised Janine that the wolf would not have harmed her, she was tried and executed. So let's just go past this advert. Come on, I don't want that. So I'll turn the sound off. Stupid. If it goes off, I'll have to leave it, but there we go. 1 second. Sorry about that. Right, so Peter Stubb. This is another case, obviously. Peter Stubb, executed at Bedburg in 1590, is perhaps history's most notorious werewolf. Unusually, his tale is told in contemporary what's that? Pamphlet? Oh, sorry, It's told in a contemporary pamphlet, which was translated from Dutch into English in the year of his execution. According to the pamphlet, Stubb, from his youth, was greatly inclined to, I don't know what that word is, Ayul? I don't know what that word is. He made a pact with the devil, but had no interest in worldly prosperity or power, but only requested that his pleasure he might work his malice on men, women and children in the shape of some beast. Satan gave him a girdle which transformed him into a wolf whenever he desired. Stubb immediately got to work. Anyone who insulted or displeased him could be sure of their death at the jaws of a ravening wolf, for he would ne'er rest till he had plucked out their throats and torn them asunder. I can't read some of these words. Whatever, anyway. Stubb acquired the taste for blood and progressed into indiscriminate murder. Cruelly, he would walk the streets of Bedburg, courteously saluting the parents and relatives of his victims. He would also identify victims in this way. He would await anyone who caught his eye in the fields and woods that surrounded Bedburg and attack them in his wolf shape. Stubb's case is also notable in that his criminal lycanthropy included not only murder but rape. He would sometimes keep his human form, rape a young woman and then turn into a wolf to kill them and partially devour them. He boasted that he could outrun any greyhound when in the shape of a wolf, so even the district's swiftest athletes were at risk from him. Within a few years, Stubb had killed 13 children and 2 pregnant women, tearing the children out of their wombs and eating their hearts, panting hot and raw, with which he accounted dainty morsels. He must have said they were dainty morsels. I didn't read that very well, sorry. As well as slaughtering and eating livestock, a sure sign that he had become more beast than man, Stubb, also guilty of incest with both his sister and daughter, to whom the pamphlet is sympathetic, produced a grandchild. By the latter, Stubb even killed his own non-incestuous son, luring him into a field and assuming the wolf form before eating the brains from his skull. The most monstrous act that man heard of, for ne'er was known a wretch from nature so far degenerate. Despite many attempts to catch him, Stubbs' werewolf career lasted 25 years. Finally, and only because God desired it, according to the pamphlet, Stubb was caught in the form of a wolf, in his wolf form, surrounded by men who unleashed their dogs upon him. Realising he could not escape, Stubb resumed his human form, but was witnessed transforming by the awestruck huntsman, who recognised the polite man about town. The man about town they all knew. Stubb was put on torture rack in Bedburg and confessed to the above before being tortured with red-hot pincers, which tore off 10 inches of Stubbs' flesh on the wheel, and his limbs were broken before he was beheaded and his remains burned to ashes. I do one more because my nose is starting to bother me, same as last time. Right, so Jacques Roulette, I think that's how you say his name, was convicted of lycanthropy in Angers, Western France in 1598. One day, an archer of Provost Company, and some peasants happened upon a nude and hideously mutilated body of a 15-year-old boy. The body's soaked limbs were seen still to be palpitating, and so it was deduced that this was a fresh kill. As the men approached further, 2 wolves were startled and seen to bound away into the nearby bushes. Since they were armed and numerous, the group decided to give chase through the thick undergrowth. Nevertheless, they were not prepared for what happened next. A tall and gaunt figure of a man with long shaggy hair and a great beard, half dressed in torn rags, strode forth to meet them. His hands were bloody, and beneath his fingernails were lumps of human gore. So revolting a sight was the man that the group could scarcely muster the courage to seize him, but they eventually succeeded in dragging him to the local town, where he was presented before the magistrate. It transpired that the man was Jacques Roulette, a vagabond who travelled begging from town to town with his brother Jean and cousin Julien. Jacques confessed to I don't know how you say that name, Bertha Pierre Herlaut. I've completely butchered that, I'm sure. Examining him, that he was devoted to the devil at a young age by his parents. They had given him a special unguent, I don't know how you say that allowed him to transform into a wolf with prodigious appetite for human flesh. Of the incident recounted above, Jacques revealed that the 2 wolves seen feeding on the carcass were his relatives Jean and Julien. He confessed to having killed and devoured children in the company of his brother and cousin across the area in which he was accustomed to travel. He also confessed to attending witches' sabbats. Jacques gave precise dates and times for his crimes, which were found to tally exactly with recordings of missing children and those supposed to have been killed by actual wolves. Unsurprisingly, Jacques received the death penalty for his wolfism, cannibalism, and murder. Though his accused parents were found to be of good character and released, however, this tale then took an unexpected turn. Jacques appealed against his conviction to the Parliament of Paris, protesting that his confession had been given under duress. The Parliament decided that he was insane and instead sentenced him to 2 years in a mental institution. Perhaps Jacques was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and doubtless is a nigh on all werewolf and witchcraft cases were tortured and extracted his confession. The inquisitors could simply refer to a record of deaths in the area and force him to admit to the crimes. It is noteworthy, though, that the Parliament decided that he was mad rather than blaming his confession on the terrible torture he suffered, which is typical of attitudes towards torture in the 16th century. Europe, it has even 16th century Europe, sorry. It has even been speculated that the mysterious unguent, which is spelled Unguent, if you know what that is, tell me, was a hallucinogen leading to a series of wild delusions. Right, so I'm going to leave it there because my nose is getting really blocked up. But I'll put a link to the site in the description. And if you want to go and look, there's other stories on there as well. Or if you want, I could come back to it another time and do like a part 2. But I'm not doing it now because this video's already getting long. And I'm starting to struggle to speak. So it's just better that I leave it. But anyway, if you watched this long, thanks for watching. And if you think it deserves a thumbs up, give it a thumbs up. That's up to you. And if you're not subscribed and you want to, then please do. But other than that, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And, bye for now. Bye.